not hello. I don't know. I just couldn't come up with anything else. I'm trying to do something different. Hey, what's up, guys? We are back with Knights of the Old Republic. Like the last episode, sorry. Me and Gwen were actually looking at allergy maps because she has really bad allergies right now, and I might be a little bit nasally because Florida is actually like red on allergies for like all areas in the United States generally. So if I do sound a little bit like hoarse or nasally or something, that's why. Again, sorry these last two episodes have been that way. But we got our little geeskas running around. They're so cute and weird. Do they have eyeballs? Let's evaluate this. They look like I guess they do have eyeballs, but they look like eye holes to me. We'll have to compare with like art later or something. Anywho, we're back with the Old Republic that has knights in it, and we are going to head off to a new planet to really, mix things up a little bit. And I'm gonna talk to Basil real quick.
How can I help?
I'm thinking that we are gonna go the complete opposite route of Tatooine here.
I'm confident that you can deal with that on your own.
Wow, thanks, Vasila. Okay, everybody wants to talk, and then when I need something, nobody helps, right? Everyone wants to talk about their personal problems, but, just because I'm the leader doesn't mean that I don't have my own shit I gotta deal with. Thank you, freeloaders. We are gonna go to Kashyyyk, which is the native species, the home planet of the Wookiees. Was featured in the 3rd episode of Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, the one with the last prequel movie, for like 3 seconds. So, yeah. And I'm absolutely 100% sure that I am going to have to add this cutscene in again, as usual. Goodbye, Lego Star Wars. Off to Lego Green Planet, I suppose. But yeah, we are here. Nothing better than cruising into a new planet, Knights of the Republic. It's really nice to get to revisit all these locales that I have like such great confidence when it offer really great story beats and interesting stuff to to look at and play. And I think there might be some specific stuff for Zalbar here, given that he is a Wookiee, and this is a place rife with Wookiees. The next star map location. It is near some gray stuff, I guess. Alright, well, we'll come across that. We'll get there when we get there, I suppose. I think when I played originally, this was one of the later planets I visited. I might have visited Kashyyyk last, actually. But I don't have, it's so weird because I love this game so much, but I don't really remember a ton about like the better like beats of it. You know what I mean? Like I remember that this is like a kind of, it's almost like where the Ewoks were, where it's like a city amongst the trees.
Another vision. The Force.
She waited a while to say that.
Helping us retrace the steps of Malak and his old master, leading us ever closer to the Star Forge. Kashyyyk is a lush but simple and undeveloped world. I would not have expected to find the alien technology of a star map here.
It looked like the star map was on the forest floor.
The Wookiees of Kashyyyk make their home high among the Rosha branches. Only their bravest warriors dare to descend into the forbidding depths of the forest. If the star map is located far beneath us on the planet's surface, as our vision seems to suggest, it's unlikely the Wookiees even know of its existence. No doubt things will become more clear once we discover the star map's location.
There are many layers to the ecosystems of rainforests. The canopy and the understory and whatever's in between those two things. They're the only two things I know. But yeah, it'll be cool to have a change up. Let's say hi to Big Z. Ooh. Do you know anything about the planet we're on? He's been away for a long time, but he's back and he's ready to kick ass. Slavers. Well, anyways, can you make me a grenade? And thanks for the grenade. Let's talk about you, Z. You don't trust me? It's nothing personal, but I just don't feel you could understand anything about me. Well, shit, dude. Oh my god, well, give me a chance, please. The ways of my people are not for outsiders to know. Then I'll leave you be, I guess. Nice. Dang, Zelbar. I guess, you know. It is cool that that not everybody is an open book. Like, Canderous, like, he pretends like he doesn't want to talk to you, but he always does, so. Let's bring Zalbar, and who haven't we brought in a while? Want to bring Mission just for fun? I feel like we talked to Mission not that long ago, so I haven't talked. Basil and Karth. Who's the lowest level? That will tell us. Oh, T3 is never around. I don't even know what I need him for, if he has any like cool dialogue or anything. Maybe we should bring Karth. Karth might be good. Yeah, let's bring Karth. Karth. Less than 3. There you go. Yeah, Big Z and Karth. Let's see. We're not on the docking schedule. There'll be 100 credit docking fee. This is what the dominant indigenous species calls this world, but are maintaining the outpost grants Zerka Corporation naming rights in the trade guides. I must insist the docking fee be paid before any other services. Upon collection, is the price negotiable? Hey! For a fee, Zerka Corporation can provide a translator for you during your visit. I'm trading in the force, I got no trouble. Bro, I know all the languages. Come now, come now. Good thing I invested in Persuade Stat, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to pass that check, but let's get our boys up some levels and then we'll, you know, we'll get right into it. Yeah, Zalbar's health stat is insane, so he never gets like body armor. But I think that does he have his own Vibro Braid? Zalbar's? I feel like, is this shit now? He can't use, I know 2 is better than 1. Did we give somebody else? I think we probably gave, Canderous something. Light scan, he can't wear these. I'm sure there's like good loot for him here though. And if he's too whack, well, yeah, Constitution is good. If he's too whack, we'll sub him out for somebody. And what about military suit? 4-9. The powered battle armor, yeah. That's really good. 2-7. 4-11. The Mandalorian heavy pistols are probably the best ones for him at the moment. Mandalorian melee shield. Light scan visor. And he can't use these implants because he's a soldier. What a goof. What a... Oh my god. Freeze! It's I, Goggles Buzz Lightyear, here to... Fuck, why am I wearing this? God, that cosplayer... no matter what you would do, if you cosplayed that, everyone would think you're an idiot, dude. The biggest. Alright, let's level you up, Z. Skills, treat injury, and demo, and I guess awareness. Yeah, and then feats, two-handed fighting. Yep. Is that it? That's the only level he got? And then Karth, is going to get treat injury. All these things are useless. And feats. He has... Is two-handed fighting, does that give you 2 weapons? Yeah. So no penalties for 2 weapons. And then level them up again. More treat injury. And, what are we trying to do here? Oh, what is the best? Rapid shot, right? There you go. Nice.
Sure.
Alright. Am I like higher? I think I'm higher level than everybody. I'm level 12 overall. And they're 11 and 11. Yeah, so I'm like 1 level ahead of them. But yeah. 2020's kind of sucked, you know, so far already. Who's Comad, by the way? Oh, it's the hunter from before. You following me, Comad? This is the guy with the lizard before. The crate dragon. What permission are you looking for? I have to gain the trust of the native Wookiees. I'm not here to just kill the biggest thing I can find. I want to understand how they hunt. What are you going to do to gain their trust? How do you know Kashyyyk? My desert dimmed imagination didn't do it justice. Desert dimmed. I like that. I'm looking for a star map. Have you heard anything? I can't understand why they have allowed it to be misused. Perhaps they had no choice, said Z. There's always the option to fight, even if there is no option to win. Of course, that is easy for me to say, being an outsider. Oh, I love this game. I hope they are not complicit in the enslaving of their world, but it's not my place to judge. I've only just arrived. Alright, see you later, Comad. Maybe we'll get you some permissions later.
3 restraining collars failed on the last shipment. The buyer was not pleased.
Oh, they're selling Wookiees. I don't know if I prepared myself to be here. What do you mean? I didn't leave voluntarily. I was fleeing slavers, but there was more. I'm in exile. The slavers on Kashyyyk only took me after I was forced to leave my village home 20 years ago. Why were you forced to leave? My brother made deals with the slavers and allowed them to get a foothold. I found out and attacked him. The fight was stopped, but my father did not believe me when I told him about my brother's actions. I was made an exile, disowned. I shouldn't be here, and they won't accept me back. Why didn't your father believe you? I used my claws against my own brother, and that's a big thing against Wookiees. Our claws are tools and not weapons. To use them in battle is to be an animal. It is madness without honor. I am forever a mad claw in the eyes of my people. Nothing I say is to be trusted. They are right to cast me out. Time has passed, things will have changed. The slavers are still here, and the dock is theirs. I doubt anyone has tried to rise and fight, so nothing has changed. I just hope I can prove myself to my people. It'll be difficult to make them listen, I just don't know. We'll deal with that if we have to. Poor Z. How you been, buddy?
Yes, what's on your mind? Have I been quiet? Suppose I have.
It's not even goggles, they're like octagonal. They look like something that, oh god, what's his name? Jam Jar from Banjo-Kazooie would wear. Left out of the loop. He said he's felt left out of the loop because he's been sitting on the ship.
Left out of the loop, you know, not being told anything, strung along. It's really starting to irritate me.
Jesus.
Thing, I want to know what the Jedi Council said to you. They pulled you in there and refused to tell me a thing about it. I'm rather curious to know what went on. And why they didn't keep you on Dantooine for training. Isn't that strange?
Why don't you just ask Basila?
I'd be more than happy to, but she's as closed-mouthed as the rest of the council. I'm hoping you'll be the one to enlighten me.
They thought it was more important that I help find the star maps than stay.
And why is that? You were a great help on Terrace, but why would they keep you with us? Don't they have to train you?
They said there's a bond between Basila and myself.
A bond? What kind of bond? You mean to say that they told you that you were tied to Bastila in some way? I have trouble believing that. You're a neophyte Padawan who's been saddled with the responsibility of tracking down these star maps. Why? That's not normal. I am not trying to provoke you or to imply that you're somehow...
I think you're self-provoking yourself, wouldn't you be?
Give me a hand here. There has to be a reason.
Are you saying I'm not needed?
No, I didn't mean that you weren't wanted or that I want to go. It's just... Damn it.
You must have,
I'm not going to wait around until I'm betrayed again.
I am not going to betray you. I am not Saul. Dude, what is this, like... How many times do we have to do these therapy chats, Garth? Like, do you ever just, like, take that stick out of your butthole, dude? Like, relax. Go to the beach. Read a book. Read a book about the beach. Go to the book and read about beaches. Go to the beach with several books. Just do something to stop irritating me, bro. That's why you don't get to come on missions anymore.
Yeah, we'll just see about that, won't we? Look, I didn't mean it that way. I want to get to Saul, not... No, forget it. It just seems that all I can do is insult you, isn't it? Just forget I said anything. Let's just get on with what we were doing.
Oh, Karth. You silly little man in silly little metal underpants. Oh, boy. Maton Daisel. I'm sure these guys will be actually be able to talk to.
Greetings to you. Something I can get for you?
Kindly direct your inquiries to me. Maton is merely an indebted employee. His opinions don't amount to much. New spaces have come to Wild Kashyyyk. Look well upon the wares of Eli Gand. I live to serve your needs.
Do you live to serve me?
The interest on his loans will drain you like a diluvian fatworm on a hut's backside.
First off, huts are all backside.
Jeez.
I don't much like the comparison. No need to get personal. It's just business. Poor fellow. He's been waiting for his friends to return with my money for a standard month now. But you don't need to hear this. What can I get you?
Yeah, I don't, but thanks for the character context, I guess.
Of course. You're in a...
Oh, he sells shit. Jammo Hagra's battle armor. Immunity to crits. Ooh. Every planet, I think, has, like, one really good thing. Not usable by Wookiees. Ooh, cardio regulator. +2 fortitude. Cyber reaction system. +3 dex. Oh boy. Jesus, that sounds good. I don't want hyper. I thought it said hyper Adderall strength. Hyper Adderall strength. Jeez. That's something all of us college grads are familiar with, I'm sure. Hyper Adderall strength. You know, I think it'd be a lie to say that Adderall doesn't get a lot of people through their work weeks in these days of ADHD. I mean, I had a script for a while starting in high school, but I literally couldn't even take the stuff for more than one day in a row. I'd take it like once for a week or like for a test or something. But I know people who take it all the time, and I think it's just wild to be on that stuff. It's like light cocaine to me.
Welcome to Adia.
Is it even light cocaine, or is it just legal cocaine?
Zerka Corporation is very efficient. I'm sorry, I don't understand Wookiee speak. Shiri Wook, I think it's called. What did the Wookiee say?
He wants to rip your legs off and beat you with them. You work on Kashyyyk and don't understand the language?
And no, I don't understand the language. The local Wookiee leader has made it so we don't need to. Wookiees are unable to speak basic, but for the last decade, the residents of all local villages have been trained to understand it.
Why would a Wookiee leader do that?
I understand he works very closely with Zerka Corporation. He wants his people to work well with us. It eases tensions.
and makes my people more desirable as slaves.
What did he say? I don't usually have a translator I can ask.
Ignore him. I have some questions for you.
Janos. Farewell.
What is that? Oh, it's a Wookiee slave. Damn. Cold. Thanks. If this was a Bethesda game, they would all be trying to kill me now. I need supplies. Purchase local species. Wow. Zalbar is not a slave. Difficult thing to stage. It's so much easier than, not so much easier than relying on restraining collars. I must warn you that you will be blamed for the actions of your Wookiee. Please call him off. Why do Wookiees tolerate you doing this? It is not me personally. I merely represent Zerka. There are other directors at other stations, of course. Harvesting is handled as delicately as possible, relatively speaking. Tell me about it.
Tell me everything.
If it'll ease your temper, it'll give specifics. We supply arms in exchange for a supply of healthy Wookiees. We are kept profitable, and an agreeable leader is kept in power. It keeps the process from becoming a constant firefight. What is this leader's name? I believe his name is Chundar. I don't deal directly with him. Far too brutish. That was not the name I wanted to hear. It sounds as though your thrall has an opinion about our arrangement, but it doesn't matter. Chundar is unquestioned. What about it, Z? What's the matter? It's not something I will talk about. I'm done talking to you. Feel free to inspect our operation, but I would advise going too far from the main landing area. The planet is very untamed and we do not send our patrols to lost tourists. Yikes, guys. Jeez. How horrible, right? Isn't it amazing that slavery was a thing for so long in our society? So long. I mean, there's still like people sold into slavery here, like women on trips. God, I remember I actually said it recently at Liz's birthday to one of our buddies. There was a girl. So I was seeing a homeopathic medicine person. I actually forgot to bring this up in the health thing. I saw this homeopath lady, and her name is Barbara Malmeister, and she told me a story. She went to Mexico, whether it was like the Cozumel, Maroma area. I've been there before, and there's like this one area that everybody goes to, like from those hotels for nightlife, and there's like a Senor Frogs there or something, and we went too when we were there in Maroma like ages ago. I was in like middle school or something, and she went with a friend, and she went, sorry, I'm like stopping to tell you the story. She went with her friend, and the taxi driver picked them up from the place, like Maroma or Cosmo or wherever, to go back to their hotel. And then he just started driving like in the wrong direction. And they're like, "Where the hell are you taking us?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Hablo, no hablo inglés." He pulls into this like Hispanic ghetto in Mexico, and there's like all these shirtless dudes with tats at the end of this cul-de-sac, like ready to take these people out of this car. And Barb is like tough as shit, right? She's from New Jersey. Like she doesn't take shit from anybody, right? And she had like a switch on her or something, right? And she was sitting in the back seat. Her friend was in the passenger. And, she's not dumb. She knows what's happening. And her friend is like a type B person. She's like, freaking out and panicking. And Barbara pulls this knife on this dude and is like, "Listen, one of us," I'll never forget that she told me this. She said, "Listen, one of us is gonna die tonight, and it's not gonna be me." And she put this knife to his neck, and he was still like, "No hablo inglés." So she nicked him on the side of the neck, and he started bleeding. And then he was like, "Oh shit, this lady's gonna stab me, and right here," and drive back to her hotel. And so the dude started habloing some inglés, and he, dropped them off like outside of their hotel, and they ran back, and they got a flight out the next morning and cut their vacation short. And what's bizarre about that even more is that when I was telling the story to, I think, Ezra, Danielle's boyfriend Chandler's roommate, he said that they had a, not exactly the same, but a similar experience when they were in Mexico with somebody driving them somewhere sketchy and then them having to stop the ride to go because people are like really fucked up in those places. But sex trafficking and slavery is still a thing, man.
Katarn attacks are especially bad right now. Wookiee hunters usually keep numbers down, but I think they leave certain areas
Katarn.
Just hoping a Zerka guard will get killed.
Kyle Katarn is from something. I don't know what that is. I'm going past you. I paid the fee.
I won't stop you, but you leave this area at your own risk. We're here to protect the company, not you.
Zerka. To the Great Walkway. I should save real quick. Alright. Let's get it. Kinrath. Alright. Oh man, time to get back into it. Are these guys Poussoirs now? Oh, these weird Kinrath were in the, they were inside, the caves on Dantooine, I feel like, too. Power attack? Hiya! Nice. No power attack, but whatever. Heal. Nice. Can you sense it? The wind, the sound. I feel it all now that we are away from the spaceport. The walkway is new, built by the slavers, but I remember the trees. My village isn't far from here. What can I expect? I don't know. It's been so long since I left. I only know the way things were, and many things have changed. I don't know if I will be a help or hindrance to you. My father was very powerful, a chieftain. Perhaps his feelings have mellowed, but if my brother had his ear all the time, I may be very unwelcome. We'll deal with that when it comes. This is what I'm dreading. Machane was meant to be forgotten on some faraway world. Never thought I'd come back. Sorry, pal. Oh my god, what the hell?
I can't afford this. You think I can? Do you know what they get for a healthy one of those things?
We'll work it out later. We've got company. What do you want, Spacer? I'm Patrol Captain Deno, and you're interrupting Zerka Corporation business.
My name is Taco Bell. What happened?
Got a little rebellious. We had to put it down.
You put it down? We're not animals. Zalbar, let me handle this. Does this make you mad, Zalbar? I bet it does. Hell yeah, we're gonna fight these dudes. What are you getting at? Do you want these men dead? I would not need much encouraging. Control yourself. Let me take care of this. I will do so for your sake, not theirs.
Now, that growl sounded pretty threatening. Keep your slave on its leash or we'll have another accident.
Another accident?
Shut up, you trigger-happy idiot.
Do your superiors approve of you killing Wookiees?
Of course they don't. Why would you ask me that? You're doing some sort of snap inspection? You're trying to get me to admit to incompetence, aren't you? Not going to happen. I stand by my patrol. This Wookiee got out of hand and had to be put down. We'll find another easy enough.
This may cost you more than you know, fool.
Well, it is a bit costly. Look, why are you asking this?
Persuade, you know why. I won't allow you to enslave. Do we take the smart route or the ballsy I have a lightsaber route? You know why. Hand over compensation or this gets reported, or I won't allow you to enslave or kill another Wookiee.
Is that a joke? Who do you think you are?
I'm a motherfucking Jedi, that's what. It doesn't matter. You won't enslave another Wookiee.
What? Blasters ready, men. This fool wants to die.
I just want to flex. Yeah! Die! Die! No one will miss you. Or maybe they will. Who cares now? And we needed the vibroblade. Goodbye. Big Z, can you get these frags for us? Recover the mine. Oh. And you can recover this one too. He's supposed to be pretty good with demo.
Sure.
Nice. You always have the chance to act. As the one guy said, there's always the chance to fight. Not always the chance to win, but the chance to fight. Let's go! Cut him down. Rio! Rio! Yeah, let's get him. Hit him. Hit him, hit him. Power attack. Dude, if I die, I'm gonna be so pissed. Heal. Heal. Force depleted. That's a bummer. But it is an astute point, you know? You can't... I hate when people hide behind their positions, you know? Like, I mean, it makes sense because there's so much to, like, worry about in this life anyways and so many things, but, like... to not take responsibility for, like, the actions of the people you support seems like a little... I mean, especially in a situation like this where they freaking are like, well, everyone's being enslaved, but it's not my problem, you know? It's disingenuous. Yeah, get him. Always use Master Flurry. Ooh, a corpse of someone. Yikes. This guy had a lot of stuff. Force Aura. Night Speed. Advanced Med Pack. Let's get it. Ha! Get him. Get him. Get him. Multiple turns. Yeah. Miss, miss, miss. Nice. If only I had better stats and better gear. Get this guy too. Come now. To your grave. Red poking face guy. Nice. What the hell is this? A Wookiee guard?
Ready.
Are there Wookiee guards in both directions? Oh, also he's got his level up procced. More strength, always more strength. Skills, treat injury. And feats, rapid shot. Cool.
What?
We'll save here. Let's go see what these old Wook-Wooks want over here. These naked men. It's like a fur summer dress he's wearing, you know? I guess there's no way to be summery with all that hair, huh? Only Chundar may allow you entry, especially when you bring such filth with you as this Mad Claw. Into the arms of outsiders. Where's the Wookiee I need to see? Rawookraroo? Alright, we'll go talk to this guy Chundar. I'm sure he's going to be a polite gentleman with no particular grievances about my company or me being here. Poor guy. I'm just trying to get the most out of my PTO. I took 2 weeks off. I'm trying to see everything. I'm not going to let some Forest Kinrath get in the way of my vacation hours. If he has to be slain, so be it. It saves me one less tchotchke I have to get at the I Love Kashyyyk store. I Love Kashyyyk, my favorite program. Everybody loves Kashyyyk. Oh, I gotta level up too. Please, just give me the strength points. There's no point in putting anything in anything else. Please be strength points. No. Persuade, treat injury. Powers. Oh, night speed? No. Level 15. Force shield, that's a good one. Force valor. The physical attributes, so all physical attributes? Nice. Yeah, we'll get all those points. And we'll have all the abilities and we'll just buff the ever-living shit out of ourselves. But yeah, it is wild that, like, human trafficking is the thing, you know? I guess there's never, like, an end to, like, people trying to exploit each other. What do you want? Ooh, repairs. Nice. These are mine now. Droid plating, combat suits. Oh yeah, we want to give Big Z some more vibro sword. Yeah, they're the same. Nice.
Yes?
What was on this terminal, by the way? Yeah, why would we need to slice the terminal when we could just break it? Makes no sense. Oh shit. They gave us those for this battle here. I'm ready. Oh man, it's time to settle this bitch. Alright, here we go. Night speed. Force shield. And let's get it.
Lord Malak was most displeased when he learned you had escaped Taris alive. He has promised a great reward to whoever destroys you.
He's like, did they give all of you guys the same script? He's like, it doesn't say what to say on Path B if you ask me that, so I'm just going to revert to the earlier part in the call tree. Lord Malak was most displeased when he learned you had escaped Taris alive. Is that sufficient? Oh, what the hell? Don't fear me. Fight this dude. Give him the business. Ah. Woo! Give him the work. These guys are losers, man. Poussoirs, all of them. His name is saved? Oh. More lightsabers for us. Sith energy shields, a Nectar crystal, all these different things. We don't really care about these lightsabers. Dark Jedi robes. I always like wearing the Dark Jedi Master robes just because they look cool. I don't think they give you anything bad either. But yeah, those guys are wimps, man. I guess it shows you that we are getting more powerful at the very least, you know? At the bare minimum. How did these guys, I guess they just didn't care that the dark, did they just like plop in from the top of the tree? Like they had like an Avengers fall? They just came in, you know? You enter the domain of Chundar. This human is with me and I want access to the home of my people. You have no rights here, Madclaw. This human should not have brought this taint upon our land. You must answer to Chundar. Who's taint? He means me. I am the taint that you have brought back. I would consider you the taint of my party, yes. And I'd consider Karth the balls. We're all integral to the reproductive cycle analogy of our group of homies, the Soul Patrol. You and the outcast Madclaw will be taken to Chundar, now! Damn. This Chundar guy. Oh shit, they took him. They took my homies. Bastila, Karth, or Mission. Mission's probably going to be pretty upset about this, so we'll bring her. Yeah. She's probably pretty whack at combat, but, you know, I'm trying to carry this team more. When the shit hits the fan, we'll throw her out. Step forward and address mighty and wise Chundar outsider. I don't often allow visitors of your kind. You are flanked by Zerka slavers, and they are not outsiders. Have you sold all of Kashyyyk to them? Ah, Brother Zalbar, you have been exiled a long time. You shouldn't speak in that tone. Things are different now. You are Madclaw without honor. You have no voice among your own people. I, on the other hand, am chieftain. A nice nest of lies you've constructed. You may talk, but no one will believe you. I've had a long time to guide what my people think. They trust me, the mighty Chundar, even with my brother insane and father enslaved. I rose to protect my people despite it all. Father was enslaved? Mighty Chundar? What are you talking about? You are the runt! I am no runt. Like I said, Zalbar, a lot has changed in your years away. We will discuss this soon enough. Is there a point to this? There will be no fight. You wouldn't survive. The village believes in me and they would rise to kill you. I also have the protection of the Zerka Corporation guards as well. No, you will have no chance while I am unopposed. I haven't killed Zalbar because he is my brother and I had hoped that he and I could come to an agreement. You are irrelevant. I may be able to put you to use on a menial task, however. Zalbar will have to stay here, of course. I would not abandon Zalbar to you. This isn't your choice, Taco Bell. I already have him. I have a personal matter to discuss with him. You have your other duties. A simple thing. Another Wookiee has suffered the same fate as Zalbar, gone mad and been exiled. He now lurks the Shadowlands. More importantly, he's pestering my Zerka allies during the Shadowland expeditions. It's not good for business. He's standing against you, the first of many, perhaps. No one will follow a Madclaw. He's merely a nuisance. Besides, he cowers in the Shadowlands. My people know nothing of him. Do your own dirty work. You don't have much of a choice. You can flee the planet if you want, but I am keeping Zalbar here with me. He'll stay until the Madclaw's dead. The Zerka would never allow me to hold you, but they don't care what I do with other Wookiees.
You can't do that. He can't do that, can he? He can't hold Zalbar prisoner just because he's chieftain, can he?
I need Zalbar with me as a guide. No, you won't need him to find your way. Over the years, I've had many people trained to understand Galactic Basic. I'll tell them it's better to understand the enemy. They think it will make the Zerka easier to fight. Actually, it makes them easier to obey. Remember, you can't beat me here. No one would dare oppose me to join with an outsider or an exile. I'm pretty much setting you up how to defeat me. I'm serving a plot role and I need you to play along with it. So please, you didn't really use Zalbar that much anyways. Yeah, Zalbar, you and me. No, Zalbar is referring to Freya, our father. Why, Zalbar? He ordered you exiled when you attacked me. He went as mad as you when he finally discovered the slavers. He dared challenge them alone, has never been seen since. That was years ago. Let him go, Zalbar. I rule now. I'll take the Wookiees forward, but there are prices to pay. I'll see what I can do, Zalbar. No more words, outsider. I've given my orders. I can't hold you here, but Zalbar will stay until you've killed the Madclaw in the Shadowlands.
Don't worry, buddy. We'll get you out of here. You can count on us.
You'll see where Gorwookin waits for you. Oh shit, they're kicking us out. We got the boot. Jeez. You've been given a task, outsider. Be thankful for your time in our world and do as you've been bid. Ah, freaking Chundar, huh? She was walking all sassy, huh? You gotta get your levels too. Demolitions, treat injury, computer security, okay. And feats. Sneak attack. All she has is like stealth skills and crap. It's not good. Anyways.
What?
How have things been going for you, Mission? Haven't seen you in a hot minute either.
Hey there. What can I do for you?
I want to talk to you about your bro.
I'm sorry for the way I acted before. It's just that when it comes to Lena, I tend to get a little worked up.
Why do you hate Lena so much?
My brother and me had a good thing going. Sure,
I feel like I've done this one already.
the law on Terrace, but we got by okay until Lena came and ruined everything. She was a dancer at the cantina where my brother used to go play Pazik. Griff could be a real smooth talker, and it wasn't long before the two of them were dating. But Lena was used to dating rich Teresian nobles, guys with credits. Griff could never give her the lifestyle she was used to, no matter how hard he worked.
You mean no matter how much he stole?
I'm not going to pretend Griff wasn't a hustler and a con man, but that doesn't mean you can just insult him. He did what he did to look out for me. I thought Lena
And, you know, himself as well. Mr.
For some reason, she stuck
Walter
around.
White.
I guess she saw the potential for a big payday down the road.
So what happened?
After they'd been together for a few months, Griff told me he was leaving Terrace.
Well, that was a better thing in the long run, don't you think? He didn't get blown up.
He promised as soon as he made enough credits, he'd come back and get me. And we'd all live like royalty. That was 2 years ago. I haven't seen him since. I don't even know where he went.
Maybe something happened to him.
Oh, I know what happened. As soon as she got him off Taurus, Lena sunk her claws into Griff but good.
But good. But good.
Forget all about me. I know I'll probably...
Does that make sense in a sentence? She did it but good. She did it but good. She did it ass tremendously.
Let the search for Griff get in the way of what we're doing. Let's just get back to the...
She did it cheeks amazing.
Anything else I can help you with?
You know anything about this planet?
Well, I know Zalbar's from Kashyyyk, but he never liked to talk about it. He wouldn't even tell me why he left. I don't think the Wookiees like outsiders much.
Well, did you glean that much from that conversation we just had?
Okay, have it your way.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to, get some fighting done. But now that we're in the Wookiee encampment, I think it is time and time again, for our next little part, our next little topic. And that topic is actually one I think I alluded to last episode, and that is going to be college. Yes, college. The institution that costs way too much to get receipts just so that we can work for large companies and pass very standard HR tasks and HR background checks and employment history checks, that has the gall to ask you for money during your own graduation after you've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on completing these classes, and also takes money from the public in the sense of public institutions and then squanders them and, misappropriates them and blah, 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 blah. Yes. As far as the institution of college goes, I really do think it's a freaking waste of time unless you're going to be an engineer or a doctor and you absolutely have to go. But the reason to go is to get that receipt so that you can have the maximal opportunity when you get out. Because I couldn't work at Lockheed without a college degree. And again, I just wouldn't pass regular HR checks if I hadn't had the degree. So we're going to get into this topic. And it's not so much about my opinions of college, but more of my college experience. And I had very weird views of college, I think, going in. If I haven't mentioned it already, my dad never graduated college. And ironically, he went to South Florida, and so did my mom, too, University of South Florida, Tampa. He never graduated college. He went for like 2 years, and then he started his own company and then became tremendously independently successful and wealthy. And to me, like, in whatever warped perspective I had, I was like, that's what I'm going to end up doing, I think. Carth got stuck there. That's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm just going to kind of breeze it, be there for a couple years, and then I'm going to leave, and I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, and because I'm me, I'll be successful. And that was a bit of a pipe dream, and I guess it just shows you like a mark of how my thinking has evolved as we go on. I think it'll be fun to watch Carth try to go up and down this little like pathway back and forth. But anywho, I to give you an idea of like how much I thought I actually put into going to college in the first place, I didn't even know my parents went to University of South Florida when I decided to go there, and B, or at least I don't remember. I don't think I did at the time. It didn't really matter to me. I had heard about it from Sam from my old band in high school, that he thought it was cool. And my bassist, Eitan, went there too, and he thought it was cool. I didn't even know what city it was in, and I was like, okay, well, I got in here and that it seems okay, and I'll just go there. And then I went, and my parents dropped me off, and that was the end of it. And I think like that nonchalance and the whole thought where I was like, I'll be here for a little while, I'll say that I went and then go like do my own thing, like kind of, it really like colors a lot of like what happened my freshman year, right? So I went in, I met, my roommate Tyler, who's a good buddy of mine, and I'm sure he'll be on the show at some point. He just has to make it up to Orlando. But I didn't really like, at least freshman year, like I don't feel like I met a lot of people, a whole lot of people, and I know a lot of people, and I'm friends with Facebook from a lot of people from South Florida, but like I didn't create like a ton of lasting connections with that year. And I think it has to do with the fact that like mentally I really just wasn't there, I wasn't really like there to be there. I was there because it was like something fun to do. So I met a lot of people that didn't like leave much of an impression on me, I guess, in the long run. A lot of my friends from high school were like 2 years younger or a year younger, except for a few people who went to like, private small little colleges to play sports. And really like my only interest in being in college was to have fun and then leave, right? I just wanted to party. I was like getting out of this, like my senior year had been like very like, party fun, I guess. And that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to have the college experience and then leave. And, all my friends were still back in high school. So except for the ones that went and played like, lacrosse for these small schools. And those schools were like so boring and tiny and like pedantic that like I wasn't interested in spending any time with them at all. So I was like, let's just have fun, for what we're here. So I joined a fraternity because Sam and Aton, who's the bassist, was in the fraternity, and it like seemed like a no-brainer. And suddenly I met like a bazillion people, and I was doing all these fun fraternity things, like going to retreat and going to Ultra and going to, other music festivals and, big dubstep concerts when that was like actually a thing. And, doing all this weird stuff, the Key West stuff, my old Key West story. And I bought this boat for Gasparilla, and then it fell apart the next week. So, like the standard fare of like crazy college stories freshman year. And I just kind of had like a lot of superficial fun. And even at the time, like it felt very low context because again, all my friends weren't really with me. I was still kind of like waiting for a lot of them to get into college. The ones that were in college were at places I didn't really care about. And I found that I quickly kind of got tired of everything. Like for starters, like a lot of like the partying that I was doing, and I think for me it was because I've always needed context for things. I was always like kind of bored with the partying because I guess like when you're in high school and you're younger and like everybody you're with is underage, like it's more like drinking and going out and hanging out with people from school that like, you don't know as well at a big public school is like more of a thing because like it's like a vessel for people that don't really know each other that well to like have something in between them, right? Like even people that got most of that out in college probably think like, oh yeah, I got into going out and drinking and whatever, and that's I met a lot of people and that's how I know a lot of people. And I really liked that in high school. And, it made opportunities available to hook up with girls, and it, made you more popular, and it did a lot for me, I think. And that was like the context that made it all. And the fact that it was like, illegal made it more exciting, and that you could like get caught or whatever. And I had a fake ID that I had like made at the time, which is a whole nother bag of worms I might get into later, but another time. But basically, I just didn't feel like any of the things I was doing at freshman year of college like had any meaning. I didn't feel that connected with anybody in the fraternity, really. Most of the people in the fraternity I was with. I didn't feel like I connected with them, and I just kind of felt like I was waiting to ride something out. I also like didn't like, which was really like the biggest thing later, I didn't like South Florida at all after a few months. Like, it's a massive campus. It takes forever to get across. It's hot. It's between the ghetto and the sticks. It's in an awful area. And And we got to experience that multiple times when we were living there. I think 2 people got shot like literally on campus or next to campus immediately right when we got there, or right when I got there. And I very quickly realized that I did not like the idea of Greek life at all, right? Because I went in just because Eitan was there. And, you know, I was a bit of a douchebag, like maybe the first couple months I was there, right? Because you get a big ego swell. You meet like a bunch of people. Suddenly you're not like stranded with all these people from your dorm. You're like suddenly popular, and you have like lots of things you're doing, and you feel like you're having a better experience than a lot of people. And I did like kind of come off as douchey, I think, in that time, but only for a brief while. And very quickly I realized that like, I feel like Greek life is this like, you put on some symbols and then suddenly like you think you're better than everybody else. And what bothers me more than anything is that for people like me, and even then I was like, I feel like I was pretty confident in myself, even if some of that confidence was unfounded. It takes people that like don't have confidence, that are like maybe more self-conscious about being nerdy or being weird or like not having a lot of friends, and especially like being like a last pick. Like if you were one of the people in your rush class who was like picked last or something, it makes you feel like a lesser person. And I feel like those people tended to come out like very fucked up from the Greek system. Like they just changed. They changed the way they dressed. They changed the way they talked to people, the way they acted. And I think I was almost self-cognizant of that. I was changing a little bit. I mean, these guys were like, they literally were one person and then another person when they came out. But I think that's why I like really grew a strong distaste for the whole idea of Greek life and the whole like idea of this whole brotherhood bullshit that these people preach at you, and then they take all your money, and it's like, why the hell am I paying to have friends and go to parties? It makes no sense. So I became like, I didn't like the school. I realized I didn't like Greek life, and I just didn't like, it didn't feel like that meaningful to me, like all the things I was doing. I wasn't doing it with the people I really cared about, and I just didn't have anything in common with all the people I was talking to. But it was like fine for the moment, right? But I did have some good friends, and some of them I still talk to. And like towards the end of, I guess, the spring semester of my freshman year, which mind you, academically I did horrible this whole time because all I cared about was having fun, literally. I had like a bunch of unfortunate things happen back to back to back to back, right? So one of my close buddies, who I actually dropped Greek life with, me and like 2 other guys, like we were all like had the same thoughts about it. We were like, yeah, fuck this. We're more than capable of like having fun on our own. We're going to do crazy shit, and we'll also save hundreds of dollars doing it, which made sense at the time and drew the ire of the people in the fraternities, obviously, right? So we all dropped together, and one of those guys, he had taken like a ton of AP classes in high school. And he graduated from South Florida in 1 year and went off to law school. So he was gone, right, by the end of the year, right? He might have even left early. I don't remember exactly. Another buddy, unfortunately, his mom passed away from cancer. And I think he was kind of ashamed of what had happened, and he's generally kind of like an emotional person. So he went home to sort of settle affairs, and, you know, that's very understandable. And I was, you know, everybody was heartbroken for him that had happened. And then another buddy of mine had smoked this fake marijuana stuff, like the spice stuff, like the oh God, what are they? They're like, it's not aromatics, but they're like incenses, right? They're sold as incense, but they're for people to smoke. And he smoked the spice, and he went like, God, like crazy paranoid, and jumped out of his apartment window from the 2nd story, broke his ankle when he fell, and went to his car, got out on the highway, was trying to, or out onto the main road, was trying to, I guess would have been Fowler, was trying to drive to back to Boca Raton, crashed into a telephone pole. And was like, when the police found him, they Baker acted him because he was like speaking nonsense about Obama's like CIA agents were coming to get him because I don't know, some shit that he thought he had done. He was always like kind of an anxious person. So, I mean, I don't know. And then another guy failed out. So basically like 4 of my closest friends 4 of whom had also like left Greek life with me, were all gone by the end of the year. And like this was around the time where I was hanging out with like another group of people, and I was kind of done with that too. Like I didn't feel like I was really using people, but like I just didn't connect, you know? And I was fine with that. I just was, you know, I knew the whole thing had a time limit. And I remember like we went to Ultra, and I'm sitting in the crowd. I wish I had the footage of there because I had it on my phone for a long time, and then I lost my phone. I'm sitting in the crowd, and I'm like having a lot of fun, right? I saw Pendulum. I loved that band at the time. They were like, it was like their like closing tour or something. And I'm sitting in the crowd and I'm thinking, is this the peak, right? Is this the peak of like my partying feeling? Like, am I ever going to be this superficially happy ever again, right? And I mean, at the time I thought, okay, I'm done, you know, partying, period. But what it ended up being was like the end of kind of like a way of thinking for me. I've had my fill. I had a crazy spring break, crazy tales, spent a bunch of money, did all this random bullshit. I got it out of my system. I'm done. And I got USF out of my system, and I got Greek life out of my system, and I was ready to be done with it and move on, right? But, and I wanted to transfer to FSU or UF, because the other thing too is that even though South Florida is a giant school, it had a really small Greek life. And so I also had like this, at the time, the sensation of like, I guess they call it FOMO now, it's a dumb term, but it's like fear of missing out, where like I feel like I wasn't getting as much of a college experience as like other people were getting, and I wanted it. That was my priority at the time, was the party. And towards the end of freshman year, like it wasn't as much, but I still wanted to just leave USF, and I liked the idea of going to like the quotes cool school. You know, I was in the cool fraternity, but like I don't know, I was into all that shit back in the day, and I wanted to like have maximum opportunity, I felt like. So, but surprise, surprise, my credits didn't get accepted, and I couldn't transfer in, and I had a bad GPA, so the option was to go get my AA, right? My associate's degree, so I could transfer in. And I knew lots of people that transferred into FSU with their AA. There's actually like literally, I think it's like a fucking corrupt racket of people that get into FSU through TCU, Tallahassee Community College, or TCC or whatever, and like, you know, pay off the
You've been all over the galaxy, I bet, right?
pay off the people there. I've never had them interrupt before, so we'll let them talk. Sorry. Brief intermission.
Yeah, but that's only since the Sith occupation. Before that, well, I guess it wasn't all that different, really. Maybe Taurus ain't as great as I thought, you know?
Trust me, Mission, there are a lot of worlds better than Terrace. There are worse, too, but Terrace is no place for a kid to live on her own. Even a kid who's got a Wookiee to look out for.
Hey, I ain't no kid. I look out for Zalbar as much as he looks out for me. Big C's my friend, not my babysitter. Jeez, I come ask you a question, you give me a lecture.
Don't you snap at me, Missy. You want a lecture? How's this? Only bratty little children fly off the handle because of a simple comment.
Settle down.
I don't have to listen to you, Karth. You ain't my father, though you're sure old enough to be. So keep your lectures inside your withered old head, because I don't need them.
And I sure as hell don't need this. Let's just drop it and get back to what we were doing.
Yeah, drop back to interrupting my freaking topic. Come on, guys. Jesus, this has never happened before. Please. Damn. Well, anywho, let's get back to it. So I was trying to get into FSU. I couldn't get in. And now I was in a pickle, right? I was like, fuck, I hate USF. I don't want to be here. All my friends are gone. And this sucks. And you know, we had planned to like move into this off-campus housing thing, and then of course nobody's there, so I have to like scramble to find a place to live. I ended up moving in on this place on campus, which is, you know, not the cool thing to do, and it's also way more expensive, so nobody wanted me to do it, aka my parents didn't want me to do it because they were the ones paying for all this. But I did it, and I lived with these two guys who were on the basketball team, and this really weird guy who would always watch Nip and Tuck at like 2 a.m. and was always like annoying me every time I came home, or, came home with the girl, he would always be like, "Hey, hi, what's up? You want to play like Madden? You want to hang out? You want to watch Nip and Tuck?" It was just the worst, right? I did not want to be there. But I tried for a little bit. So beginning of Fred's sophomore year, nobody's there, starting from ground zero, and everybody in Greek life hates me because I pretty much said, "Fuck all you, I'm leaving." But I try to go out, and the incident that I talked to in my health episode about the guy who kind of like bullied me with all the fraternity brothers there at the bar, that happened, and it really fucking pissed me off. And I was like, well, fuck, all I'm trying to do is like stay in my own lane and have fun out here, and like there's literally no way to go out and have fun without these Greek people being around. So that really upset me, right? And I was generally just upset that like I was stuck at this school I didn't want to be at, around these people that I didn't like. The people from my dorm before were like relentlessly boring people. I've never been more bored like talking to people in my life ever. Just like some people are just like super duper duper mundane, like they were all really nice people, but like, man, like it was almost like Jesus, some people are boring, right? So I just hated everything, and like I just didn't like anything, and I threw myself into working out because that's where I guess I derived my value, right? Was working out. So I did all that, exercised, workout, and I'm just very angry. I'm very bitter. I don't want to be at South Florida, and I'm trying to get to FSU. But I'm not trying that hard because every opportunity I get, I go back home or I visit my friends who are now in college, right? And lo and behold, they rush fraternities. And I visit one friend of mine maybe 3 months in, or I think it was like the end of the fall, right? And I had come home sporadically. I was very bitter and pessimistic at the time. I imagine I wasn't like a very easy person to be friends with at the time, given how upset I was about everything. And the fact that like I was through like the exercise and the working out and how hardcore I was feeding like some very negative energy in my body, feeding very negative feelings, like wanting to be confrontational and like not let somebody fuck with me, And I remember we visited, my high school buddies and me visited our buddy that had gone to college. He had rushed Sigma Chi at FSU, and we all did mushrooms together. This was like 9 years ago or something now, but we did mushrooms together and we talked, and he had been bullied like really relentlessly, like really awfully when I'd heard it. And I'd been hazed when I was at the fraternity, and I had dropped early, but like I never really saw anything that was that crazy or was put through anything that crazy. Like I did a plank on bottle caps one time and I got yelled at a bunch, and people just were like, thought they were better than you. But that was like the extent of it for me. But he got like really fucked up over there. It was awful. And we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I hate fraternities at this point, right? Because of what I've seen them do to people. And I'm like, you can't fucking be there, dude. You can't say, you can't stay there. They're just going to crush you. And it really upset me because in our like group of friends at the time, this person was like, he was never unpopular, but he was always peculiar. And I feel like everybody from our own town like knew that he was that way, but we kind of knew him, and it was endearing to us versus like being completely weird. And to them, in this like cookie cutter interpretation of what a person was, they didn't find it endearing at all. They just thought, this guy's a fucking loser and let's make fun of him. And I hated hearing that. But of course, at the end of the trip, he's like, yeah, no, everything's fine and I'll go back. And then he changed, right? And I watched other people change that were in his class. Like people went to UCF and they rushed a fraternity I can't even remember the name of. And, people I thought were like my friends from my lacrosse team, like started acting like assholes to me, right? Like just complete douchebags. Maybe they thought that I thought I was better than them or something at the time, or maybe I said something to them and forgot it, but they were all like looking to like, dick measure against me. And I didn't like it. And I didn't like how many people I was seeing change, right? Into worse people. So that made me bitter too. I was unhappy with my friends because of the decisions they were making. I was unhappy with my life. I was unhappy that I was stuck. I wasn't really doing well in my classes because I was never fucking there. I was visiting other colleges and not really being happy with what I was seeing. I didn't know what the hell was going on, right? And basically, I was very bitter and upset, and this all kind of culminated with an argument on New Year's, right? With all of my friends, and it's something I've kind of alluded to, I think, in the Connection episode. But I had a fight with my friends about drunk driving, and like being caring about people, and I'd had like, this was precipitating. This was like a fallout of like months and months and months of issues over different breaks, and I'd come home and I felt like I just had no love from anybody, right? Like I missed these people, but nobody missed me, and like nobody even cared that I was gone. And then the only thing they cared about when I came back was like how easygoing I was about like them wanting to drive drunk and like kill themselves. And man, I'm telling you, like this was one of the most frustrating days of my entire life. Like going to this New Year's party, like doing everything I can to prevent my friends from like driving drunk or getting arrested. And then I find out years later that even though I drove them back and like, broke up two different fights just on the ride home, physical fights, they were wasted, got back in the car, and then got a DUI, even after I had gone through like all this craziness to keep everybody safe. And that was the day I dropped them. And I didn't even know that at the time, because I was like, these people don't care about me. We're not the same people anymore. I clearly don't want the same things, and everybody sucks. And, everybody's being changed into these shitty people, or these shitty, mundane people, or just uncaring, selfish people. And I hate it. So I was pretty much miserable sophomore year. And that was like the beginning of a really dark time in my life that really didn't end officially, I think, until I met Sean and the guys, right? This was like the era of like bitter about everything, just how did my life like completely erode without me even realizing it, right? So the year came, my grades still suck because I'm never there. I have my AA, but no school will take me. I can only stay at South Florida, Tampa, and I hate Tampa, and I never want to go back, right? It's like too much for me to like be there yet another year, right? I cannot face anything. And I'm like, Dad, I just got to work online. Like, I'll take classes online, but I got to do something. So my dad put me to work working for him at Pediavision, where he was selling pediatric ophthalmology devices. And I just did basic data entry to start. And then I went into medical sales after the person that I was working under got let go for, irrelevant reasons. I was okay at that job. I started when I was 19, and I worked with a bunch of people who were at the very least like 27, 28, so my age now. I was like super underqualified to do the sales job. Data entry was fine. Everything was fine. I was doing that. But when I got the sales job, I'm selling these, pediatric ophthalmology devices, these very high technology, groundbreaking technology products to, one of 400 pediatric, a very, very small number of pediatric ophthalmologists in the United States. And it was a lot of cold calls at first, and I maybe sold like literally one or two devices that way, and I did presentations, and I didn't even really know what I was doing. I had no understanding of health insurance, and I was trying to explain these ROI charts to these like 80-year-old doctors who've had like 30-year practices who don't, just because I'm 19, they wouldn't listen to me anyways. I think I was 20 when I stopped doing it, but yeah, so I'm doing that, and I start hanging out with my cousin more because I'm at home and I don't talk to any of my friends. I don't talk to anybody. And I think I maybe saw him like once or twice, but like I'm breaking it off, like, period, right? And hanging out with my cousin more, and through her I meet this girl, and I date her very briefly, like we start going out very briefly, and it was like the first person I really fell hard for, I think, like had a big crush on, and it went like totally south just because she was like very wishy-washy and flighty and weird, and like that brought me down, and I was doing shitty at work. And even when I started doing good at work, and I was, I started getting into more of like the warmer sales, or we would do like these Lions conferences, or like these It's called like the Lions. I don't remember what they're called, but it's like this old person outreach, like this elderly outreach program, community outreach, and they get like all this money and then they have to spend it on stuff. And they were like a big customer of ours. Lions clubs. And when I would do the Lions Club stuff, I do pretty well. And then we did like nurse supply conferences and we did pretty well. I started traveling, going to like Jersey and Ohio and Boston. And I was really like invested in this job. But like even then, like people at work were being catty and I wasn't doing everything perfect. Like I remember I went to the nurse supply conference and I was wearing short socks instead of long socks because I couldn't find my long socks when I went, which I should have worn long socks. But then like I found, like I was there with one person. I did all this good shit at the conference. Like I fixed all these devices. I got all these different leads and I got sales, but all they could like bring up was like, oh, you wore the wrong socks. And it was just bitches in the office being petty about bullshit because they were like mad about shit. I don't know. Fuck those people. But, and then also like, I don't want to give the idea, like I worked for my dad's company, but my dad was like literally never there. Right. And I worked for a different boss and he said some shit about, he would like make like very mean-spirited, dry jokes about me that I didn't like or appreciate at all. And I remember one time, and like, as somebody that is sometimes funny, hopefully, you know, there's always like a kernel of truth when people say jokes. And he once called me like I wasn't even sure if it was a joke. He called me my dad's genetic waste material one time while I was at work. And I was like, I fucking hate working here. I just want to do something else. Right. And so I'm really down. In like the last couple years, I feel very defeated. I lose all my friends. I'm doing shitty at work. I feel like I'm in this space I shouldn't be because I should be graduating. I should be with people my age. I don't feel like this is the place I'm supposed to be. People at work are being irritating. Everything sucks pretty much. And I got nobody and I'm unhappy, right? You know, and the whole thing with the girl who will not be mentioned went bad, but I'm pretty down and I'm considering leaving, and I know that my dad is ready to sell the company because that's what he does. You know, he gets into a thing, he gets bored of it, then he sells the company, makes his money, and he leaves, right? So I know the opportunity isn't even there for that long. So I'm like, I should probably go back and finish school. And it had been like a year and a half, 2 years that I had just been taking classes online not to fail. And I hadn't done especially well in those classes either. Like some of them I did okay, but I think one of them I like forgot to take an exam and I fucked up. So not great again, right? So my dad notices, and he knows that he did this, and I'm glad that he did this. But he heard that Dave Chappelle was having a stand-up, like one of his first stand-ups back as like a touring comedian at the time. This is before he did like a zillion Netflix specials throughout his like more recent comeback. But he was starting to like try to get back into the world again, and was doing like dates. And so I immediately was like, I gotta go. So, you know, my dad, you know, got me tickets to go out there. I stayed with some relatives and I went out there, and it was like, I was going through this time in my life where like I was in a really bad place, but I was considering what my next move would be in my transition. And, you know, Dave Chappelle had left his show unceremoniously after being like very famous and very successful. And everybody, like, as soon as he left, everybody said all this nasty shit about him. And people had said nasty shit about me, about like me doing steroids or something, even though there wasn't even like a semblance of truth to that. You know, they thought he was crazy, he lost his mind. They all, you know, the things that came to mind was all the bad shit about him, and they couldn't see any complexity or depth to why he would want to leave a show when people are making it like about being racist, right? And I needed to see him, and I've been a fan for my whole life of this guy, and I've felt like a lot of parallels between his career and my life in the sense that we had both completely withdrawn from a regular life or like interacting with the outside world, right? And I went there, and it was very emotional for me because I felt like all these people were like waiting for him to come up and be this like train wreck, right? They were waiting for him to come out and be this person who would just make a fool out of himself, a shell of his former self, this depressed, asshole who's, bitter, and he comes out and he's looking good. He's, muscular and strong and confident and has this era of like, I've been doing me, man. I don't need shit from you guys any longer, And he's fucking hilarious. He's the funniest he's ever been, He hasn't lost a step at all. And it just makes me feel good. Like, it makes me feel good saying it now. Like, he was, all these people, all they could do was say bullshit about him because his life like took this dark turn, and he's still the same motherfucker. He hasn't changed a bit. No matter what everybody says, he's still like, he's still him. He still gets to be him, And he even talked to me during the show, which was like my first experience with being like starstruck, which was amazing. And I just remember like crying listening to that new J. Cole album that had come out at the time in the car, because I felt like it was like a sign that I could kind of try to come back to the world of the living again, that like, even though I felt like everybody had abandoned me and my life had like just shriveled up, and that all these bad things had happened to me, and that I hated myself and I hated everything, that things could get better, and that as long as that I'm still me. I'm not like this broken person now, So I said, you know what? I have to graduate. I have to get out. I have to get past this. The company got sold, and I went back to school, and it was a bit of a culture shock to go from doing all this touring around and selling all these devices to being told that there's like an accounting test in a week, right? It was weird. And I couldn't go to like UCF or FSU because of, credit transfers, and I wasn't even sure if I wanted to go at this point. And, but I could go to a satellite campus from Tampa, and I had taken like maybe a test there previously, but I found USF St. Petersburg, which the opposite of my feelings about USF Tampa. I love USF St. Pete. It's a beautiful campus. It's right on the water. There's like cool coffee shop there. They had gluten-free stuff for me when that started to become a thing. They had a good bar, and but yeah, I loved the school, and the people there were different. It was a small school, but it was a public school, so people weren't like rich and stuck up and thought they were better than other people. They were hip. They were a lot of local people, and they were just cool. And the school had like really easy access to the city, and everybody was awesome. And it was exactly what I needed when I was there. Going to USF St. Pete, I think, was the first time I felt like I got to be just actually me in like many years, where it wasn't me in like my best self yet, but it was the first time where I felt like I wasn't coming off of like this being down about, oh, things are going shitty with my dad's work, or things are going shitty with school, or I'm tired of living with my parents, or I'm tired of like, I wish I could live somewhere else. I could be independent. I could like do something. I felt like I finally got like a blank slate again, which is what I was looking to have. And I got a great group of people, and I formed stronger relationships there than I did in Tampa, but not like a ton of like really close ones, mostly because of like personal reasons, not really because of them. But it was like really what I needed at the time. And, I got better. I started talking to people again. I, was skateboarding with some people, fishing with some people, having fun, getting out there. I love the city. I absolutely love the city. It's a gorgeous, awesome city if you ever get the chance to go. Loved the school. Everybody was great. And I was also I felt very like burnt out on having male friends and being let down by a stupid generic frat boy, white freshman year kind of people. So I was like, I'm not really going to work too hard to like make friends. I'm just going to go chase girls the entire time I'm here. And that's what I did. I did pretty decent. And I had fun and, made some, decently lasting connections from that, but mostly just had fun. And it helped me recover from what was almost traumatizing of like having to lose so much. And I wasn't entirely comfortable being like a geek at the time, which is I think why some of the relationships weren't as deep and lasting. But I got what I needed to out of being there, and I'll always love St. Pete. And in that school and that environment. And I was there for a little while, and then I started like getting back into stuff that was more about me. And I'd always been into the FGC stuff, and it was finally time where I was playing Project M, which was the brawl mod that was popular at the time, playing Charizard. And I finally had an opportunity to play in tournaments, and that was a time where I traveled back to UCF and went to a Smash tournament, and that's where I met Marcus, and through Marcus I met Sean, and then that was kind of like the beginning of the next step of my life. I did pretty well in school. I managed to graduate in the next 2 years. I was living in St. Pete. I was, hanging around, fucking around with these girls, and I was coming back, every other weekend, every 3 weekends to go play, Smash and Street Fighter with my buddies. And like, it kind of pulled me out of that depression. I was independent, not financially yet, but, on my own. And I had new friends, and I had friends that I really cared about that I didn't feel like were going to treat me poorly. And, I can't say if I graduated with an economics degree exclusively so that I could get out of school. I was just tired of being in school. I graduated in 5 years, miraculously, overall. And that graduation day was one of the worst days of my life for health reasons, not because of like anything else. But I did get better because of the time that I spent there and meeting Sean and all of them in that period of time. They really saved me from myself. And they were the ones that helped me grow into the person that I've become. But I think like going to St. Pete, aside from all the health stuff, was like what made me stop being so bitter about everything. This is the best way of putting it. It was what allowed me to finally lay my old life to bed, to get over that stuff and to move on. And that's what I did. I completely moved on. I never think about people from Tampa ever, like literally ever. I never think about them. I don't even think about the people from high school really at all. Like, it's bizarre when I talk to Doug and he is talking about some dude that I haven't seen in over a decade, and I'm like, I haven't thought about this person in like 9 years, So it helped me move on. I met my buddies. They helped me grow again and accept like exactly who I was. And I can't say if it's because of all the things leading up to it that allowed me to get to where I was with where I am in my life now and my friends. And I needed the degree, otherwise I wouldn't be able to work at Lockheed. Literally, I wouldn't have passed the those HR checks that I was mentioning. But it was. I think that I needed to have all those disappointments and all those kind of destructions of everything I believed in and everything I thought that I wanted to grow and to get to where I am now. It is cliche to say something like that, but I learned that things can be better if you don't hold on so tight sometimes. And that's not to say that you shouldn't commit and you shouldn't work on things, but I was being mistreated by people, by my own friends, by the way that they acted. I was growing apart, and my life was kind of imploding because of just people and circumstances. And when those circumstances were gone, my life recovered. And now I definitely don't feel like genetic waste material. So, nor did I ever. Fucking asshole. But, yeah. So that was college for me. Extremely roundabout. There was some times in the middle where I like tried to learn coding and electrical engineering and all this stuff, I think, when I was taking online classes, and then weirdly life kind of turns around and now I'm a software developer, and I actually do have those skills, even though not everybody who was supposed to help me do that helped me, but helped me initially learn how to code. But it's in the past, and I got through it. I know I'm like reflecting on these things now, so maybe it might not seem like I'm over it, but like, honest to God, like, St. Pete and Sean saved me, and getting away from everybody saved me. And a lot of those dudes are still fucking up just as hard as they always have. So, and they're, you see people stuck in these lives that I don't think anybody would look at as ideal. So, but that was college for me. That was like a very significant 4 or 5 years of my life and the major things that happened, and I guess my thoughts on college in general. So I'm going to leave on a reflective note. We will continue our tour of Kashyyyk another time, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.